The Late Show studio pulsed with energy. Warm, electric, alive. Stephen Colbert stepped up to his desk, his trademark grin wide and inviting, charisma radiating like stage lights. The audience erupted, a roar of cheers and applause shaking the walls. It promised an evening of sharp wit, honest talk, and maybe even some fireworks. Across from him sat Elon Musk, tousled hair, billionaire casual. His posture was slouched, but his eyes, those restless gleaming eyes, carried the unmistakable glint of arrogance. He used control, power, and something else. The quiet confidence of a man who knew the world bent around him. His hands rested smugly on the arms of his chair, fingers drumming, waiting. The crowd, a strange cocktail of Colbert loyalists and Musk evangelists, clapped and whooped. A restless tension hanging just beneath the noise. They weren't just here for banter. They were here for a battle. Colbert dove in with that familiar blend of warmth and bite. Folks, we've got a big guest tonight. Elon Musk, the man who has more money than most countries, and a 5-year plan to abandon Earth. For Mars. The audience laughed, loud and genuine. He had them. Musk smirked, unbothered. Saving humanity one rocket at a time, he said, voice dripping with condescension. You're welcome. A few chuckles, some polite applause, but mostly a weird stillness. The swagger didn't land. The crowd felt it. A man too rich, too smug, too removed. Colbert's eyebrow arched. Saving us, huh? Still flashing that billionaire glow like it's a gift to be in your orbit? His jab was soft-spoken, but sharp. A velvet-wrapped scalpel. The audience chuckled again, firmer this time. He was striking a chord. Colbert pivoted. Let's talk Mars, Elon. This colonization thing. Serious vision for the future or just an off-world playground for the ultra-rich to escape the rest of us? The question was sugar-coated with charm, but the message was barbed. The audience laughed again, applauding. Colbert was dancing that perfect line, host and advocate, entertainer and watchdog. Musk shrugged. Earth's a mess. Mars is the future. The words were casual, but the disdain crept through. A few scattered claps, more frowns, a ripple of unease. The room shifted. Colbert leaned forward. The future, huh? What about the rest of us stuck down here footing the bill for your cosmic joyride? Ever think about that? The smile on his face was there, but the steel had slipped into his voice. The air tightened. You could feel the shift, from humor to confrontation. Musk scoffed. Oh, Stephen! Whining about bills? Stick to comedy. Leave the vision to me. The words hit like a slap, gasps, a few groans, 1 or 2 boos, and silence. Colbert's smile faded to a line. Comedy, sure, but I'm not the one trying to outrun accountability with a private planet. It landed. The audience erupted. Cheers, claps, a wave of renewed energy behind their host. Musk's smirk thinned. His fingers tapped harder now, the rhythm nervous, eyes scanning the crowd with growing detachment. He looked like a man who suddenly didn't like the room he'd walked into. Colbert sat taller, his voice cut through the air, crisp and unwavering. Dodging reality, Elon. That's rich. Coming from the guy who thinks Mars is a solution, not a retreat. The crowd was with him now. Fully. The air had changed. Not a show anymore. Not just laughs. A reckoning was unfolding, and it was only just beginning. Everything while we're still here, Colbert said, his voice sharp and crisp, each word landing with intent. A jab, but one with purpose. The crowd roared their approval, clapping hard, some standing, others whooping. They were a wall behind him now, a battleground crowd choosing its champion, and Elon Musk's mask was starting to slip. The tension in the room simmered hotter with every second. Musk leaned forward, voice icy. "Oh, Stephen. So noble, huh? Crying for the little people while I'm out there solving the real problems. Maybe stick to your jokes." His words oozed disdain. It wasn't a rebuttal, it was a dismissal, and the crowd felt it. Boos broke out, louder this time. Some shouted back. The room turned, their unease with Musk now burning into anger. A tidal wave was rising and his swagger was drowning. Colbert didn't flinch. His eyes flashed. "Jokes! Sure, but at least I'm not pretending my bank account makes me a savior. You're solving problems for who, Elon? Yourself?" The crowd exploded. Cheers thundered through the studio. Some people rose to their feet. It wasn't just support. It was solidarity. The host wasn't just entertaining anymore. He was standing, up. And the audience stood with him. Musk bristled. His hands slashed the air, his voice rising into a sneer. "You don't get it, Stephen. I'm building the future. You're stuck in the past, whining about fairness. It's pathetic." Entitlement leaked through every word. His composure cracked. His patience snapped. The studio shook with boos. Sharp, sustained, furious. The crowd was no longer just an audience. They were a force. Colbert stayed steady, unshaken. "The future, huh?" he said, calm but cutting. "Sounds like a fancy excuse to leave the rest of us behind. I'm not whining, Elon. I'm watching, out for them. Something you've clearly forgotten." He gestured subtly to the seats, to the people. The room erupted again. Cheers, applause, even a chant rising. "Stefan! Stefan!" A host holding the line. A billionaire losing control. Musk stood suddenly, chair scraping back with a harsh screech. His voice boomed with fury. "I don't need this, Stephen. You're a clown. I'm done with your, sanctimonious garbage." He tore the mic from his shirt. The cord whipped through the air. His face twisted in anger. His sheen of calm shattered. "Keep your little show. I've got better things to do." He stormed off stage, footsteps stomping, coat flaring behind him like a cape in retreat. The crowd erupted. Boos, yes, but also cheers for the man who stayed seated, stayed solid. Colbert raised his hand slightly, calm as ever. "Take care, Elon. Mars won't miss you." A parting shot, cool and clean. The audience surged again, a wave of applause crashing over him. Musk's exit was a spectacle of undone arrogance, a tantrum disguised as pride. And Colbert, he didn't blink. He sat back at his desk, composed. His hands rested easily, his face steady, a blend of resolve and quiet triumph. The empty chair beside him, the mic still dangling, became a symbol. A trophy from a battle won not with ego, but with conviction. The crowd roared. And in that moment, Colbert wasn't just a host. He was a voice for the people still here, still watching, still hoping for someone to say what needed to be said. Backstage, chaos ignited. Producers scrambled through the wings, headsets buzzing with frantic orders. Phones lit up like spotlights, texts, tweets, news alerts flashing across screens. Musk had shoved past a stage manager's outstretched hand, coat flapping behind, him like a fallen banner. He muttered curses under his breath, a bitter growl trailing him down the corridor. But the real noise, the thunder that mattered, stayed inside the studio, a crowd electrified, a room reclaimed, a moment sealed in late-night history. Stephen Colbert, unmoved, unshaken, sat ready to turn the night back toward laughter. But everyone watching knew something real had just happened. The door slammed behind him. Elon Musk, once the immovable icon, now exited in a blaze of ego and embarrassment. His swagger had cracked under Colbert's steady fire, his retreat loud but hollow. Backstage, whispers erupted. He was tense from the start. A crew member murmured. He wouldn't stop pacing. Colbert's reputation for slicing through pretense had clearly rattled him, and when sparks flew, they ignited a full-on blaze. Clips were already flooding. The internet. "I'm done with your sanctimonious garbage." The line was everywhere. Some called it a tantrum. Others hailed Colbert for standing tall. Online flames burned bright, but the spotlight remained fixed. On the stage, on the host, on Stephen Colbert, who hadn't flinched. He leaned into the mic, calm and deliberate. "Well, folks," he said with a smirk, "looks like Elon's off to colonize the green room. Guess he didn't like the view. From Earth!" Laughter thundered. Claps, cheers, relief. The tension that had choked the room moments ago now lifted in waves. Colbert didn't gloat. He didn't need to. Instead, he flipped the meltdown into a monologue. "I thought we'd talk rockets. Didn't think we'd launch one off stage." The crowd howled. He mimicked Elon's mic toss with a casual flick of his own, riding the surge of applause like a wave. It wasn't just recovery. It was resurrection. "Okay," he grinned, straightening up. "Let's move on. We've still got a show to do. You folks ready for some fun?" A hand extended, a peace offering. The response was electric. The studio shook with cheers. Some stood. Others pounded their hands together, a release of shared catharsis. Not a win over Musk's fall, but a victory in the room's rise. The night pressed on. The show flowed. The tension had become tempo. The chaos now rhythm. Colbert was unshaken, unfazed, alive in the moment. Musk was gone. But Colbert remained, and so did the people. The break hit, then dissolved, and the show roared back. The crowd's earlier shock was just a memory now, replaced by a pride that shimmered with every clap. They'd witnessed something real. A billionaire undone by bravado, and a host who didn't blink. Colbert stood taller than before, his voice steady as he guided the night. "Well, folks," he said with a chuckle, "we hit a little turbulence. Elon took off faster than his rockets. But hey, we're still here, right? That laugh, that moment. It snapped the room together again. A storm turned story. A story turned shared. Online the fire burned brighter. Clips of the clash spread. Like wildfire. Musk's outburst. Colbert's calm. Comment sections exploded. Some scorched Musk's ego. Others crowned Colbert the people's host. Musk's team stayed silent. Colbert's kept watching the view count climb. No spin. No damage control. Just the moment. Sealed. He brought out the musical guest. The band lit up the room with vibrant chords. The crowd swayed, clapped, laughed. What had been raw now glowed. Colbert closed the night under the lights. Alone. But not. The audience stood with him. Literally. "You folks are the heart of this," he said, his voice full of gratitude. "Thanks for sticking with me. If you felt it tonight, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with us for more real nights." Standing ovation roared back. The rafters rattled, the camera panned wide, faces beaming, eyes lit, hands clapping as one. Musk's arrogance was a memory. Colbert's stand, a fire that refused to dim. The screen faded to black, a perfect close. A legacy sealed in applause. Truth over bluster, heart over hype, and a host who knew how to lead.